Hi guys, it's Cherie from Paper Pieces and Leftovers, and today I am bringing you a quick embossing tutorial video. It's for the fireflies I did. I know you guys seen them, and a lot of people don't know how to use embossing powders. I did a video on 12 by 12 cardstock shop, so now I'm going to have to go unfriend a lot of you guys because that means you didn't watch it, so now my heart's really broken. Just kidding. But anyhow, I'm doing this video for two reasons. One, to show you guys how to do it, and two, to tell you guys to be very careful with using these. You can either screw up your piece by using the wrong color of embossing powder, or having your heat temperature wrong, or not having the correct embossing ink. So, when you guys order your embossing ink, what I try to tell everybody is swatches are very important. It doesn't matter if it is a swatch for your cardstock, if it's a swatch for your ink, if it's a swatch for your embossing powders. The reason I'm showing all these is because they're all in the same packaging. I got them off of Amazon. Sparkling Snow, Opaque Bright White, Clear Gloss, White Pearl, Super Ebony, Glow in the Dark. Now I'm not worried about the glow in the dark because it's got a little bit of a green tint if it's been exposed to light, which it has. The black you can obviously see. But these four right here, if you are not familiar with embossing powders and you get a multi-pack, great, because it's going to expand your horizons and your embellishment possibilities. But please take a black piece of cardstock, put a sample, I don't care if it is a full square or just a line, with embossing powder, one at a time. Use your heat gun because it's the only way to set it so it never rubs off. And then use a white gel pen and write which one it is. That way you're not wasting product or ruining your pieces because you didn't really want to use that one. Now, I have probably, I want to say 8 trays of embossing powders. Yes, they make that many colors. I have big jars, little jars, mini jars, big bottles. Now this is clear gloss as well, and I can refill my little one, and that's part of what I did. And this is ultra thick. This is for when you want something to have a glaze look. Let's see here. They're really big crystals compared to a fine micro dust powder, and they melt into a nice, pretty glaze. But I'm doing this video just to save you guys headaches, frustration, and give you guys encouragement that you can do this. My husband's going to buy me a new gaming chair because he says he's tired of the squeaking. Don't judge me. All right, so now moving on. The spoon. I do not know where this came from. Honestly, I think it came from a Pan Pastel $57 set of all of the skin tone pack I bought. But I did find on Amazon 50 metal spoons. That way you don't have to worry about them bending because I'm only down to 2 now. They do bend, and over time, if you close them into a drawer, it just ruins a spoon. I will post those on my Paper Pieces and Leftovers link where it says, here is all of the Amazon links you could possibly need for the embossing video. And the tray is in there. I lost this. It has a cap. That way it doesn't fall out of the hole. But this makes cleanup easier. This makes your mess stay confined. And it also helps with product waste because you just pour it into the container you got it out of. Use one at a time. I use these for my glitter. I use them for my embossing powder. I use them for anything that's going to make a mess that I don't want to clean up. Now, next thing. I do not recommend this. This is a disaster. It does come with this. I have so many different embossing liquids and pads. I'm not digging them all out. The reason I took this one out, I love Recollections from Michaels. But this thing here, it did not want to hold any of my powders. And with embossing, you can go over it, but it starts kind of looking weird. You can actually see the layers sometimes. Just get this. This is on Facebook, but 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop sells this also, and they do have the bigger pads. I have the bigger one. I just didn't want to open another one because I was trying to show you guys that they come very sealed, and I was just wanting to show you guys that, yeah, there are such a thing as refills, and the one from Amazon does have a refill with a full-size pad, which is this size, which is great because I love Tim Holtz. All right, now that that's out of the way, you will need your embossing gun. This I posted. It is a Chandler tool. The reason being, I recommend this one. It has 2 speeds. I love that I can control the speed, meaning low or high. If you do epoxy, you know you use these heat guns to get your bubbles out. Also, when you're working with your Tim Holtz inks and you use the distress aspect of them, which I do, and I've done videos, and I also found out Catherine Pooler is a distress ink also, and I'm just going to admit, I will not confirm nor deny that I've used those inks for many years, 3 years now. Did not know it until the other day when Catherine Pooler, one of their employees, told me on one of my comments to the inks when I saw the video. She actually replied, and I almost died because I felt so dumb. But you live and you learn. Now, if you distress your paper, setting number 1 will dry your paper so that way you can stamp on it. If you're doing a card and you distress the back and you want to add, you know, one of your paper pieces to the card, and you've already distressed your card and it's wet and you're like, no, I don't want to put something on wet paper because dry paper on wet paper is going to warp the paper. You just dry it and then you put your little piece down because your paper's dry. You don't have to wait forever. Yes, I already posted these, so it's no secret. I can't show everything on my desk, which I'd love to, because I have a lot of secrets, like my hair. 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop. They're going to post all of my videos before I can. And it's because I've been playing catch up. As you guys know, I recovered from surgery and my immune system from lupus. I ended up catching strep and influenza. And my husband brought home COVID from work, and guess who got COVID? And I'm better, and now it's like I can't scrapbook enough. These I got from a lady on TikTok. That way, if I forget to watermark my pictures, because I noticed people are posting them and not giving me credit and making it look like they're their own. So I got to get better about doing that. Now, the next thing. This, I love this, and it smells like my great-grandma. That sounds horrible, but my great-grandma always smelled so good. She smelled so clean, and, you know, baby powder was a huge thing. If you don't want to invest in this, and I will look if I can find the link. This is by EK Tools, EK Success, EK Tools, and there's baby powder in it. What this does here, let me grab a stamp. I have so many stamps, but I need a rubber one. Okay. So this here, it has a lot of uses. You know when you use your Cosmic Shimmer Flake and Glitter glue, let's say that you put it on a piece of hair. Let me grab a piece of hair and show you guys. actually, because the little boy that I did the video for, when I did the face, nope, let's grab the eyeball. So the eye is sticky, okay? It doesn't come off. It is really sticky. This, it doesn't matter if you use a tape runner or your sticker maker. If there's glue or something that you do not want sticky any longer, even if it's something that like your tumbler and the sticky crap on the bottom, you run this along, it does not stick to my finger anymore. I can no longer, it's done. No more stick. You can rub, it's not going to be sticky ever again, which I may regret doing that a little bit because I wanted it sticky, but for video purposes, I'm glad I could help people out, but nope, it won't stick even after rubbing. You definitely want this, and it smells so good, but I want to show this. I'm still short of breath, guys. I'm sorry. And that's part of why I'm talking fast, is to get through this video fast so that way I can just stop talking because COVID has kicked my butt. Now, if you're new, you can use baby powder with a paintbrush. You don't necessarily have to have this tool. This tool just controls it and makes it easier so that way I can drop it everywhere and I don't have to worry about tipping it. You want to go over your area with your brush, and I probably shouldn't have did that on such a large piece that I was using, but that's okay. Now you would stamp your, push your stamp into your embossing ink, stamp down, lift up, and once you pour your embossing powder onto your embossing inked area and you tilt it, it won't stick to anywhere on this paper except for where this embossing ink is from the stamp. And that is heaven sent because there's times when you're using red or black, blue, green, when you're doing a sentiment for a card, and all of a sudden you notice little specks all around the sentiment and it makes it look messy and you can't get them off. They're permanently on there. So these are definitely a recommendation. I will see if I could find you guys a link, even if it's not from Amazon. I will put it on my post on paper pieces and leftovers, along with the spoons. So I'm going to leave those to the side. Okay, now without further ado, warnings. Do not hold a piece in your hand. I don't care what setting you use this on. Do not do this. You are going to end up with blisters, third-degree burns, and it even says nozzle may be hot. Do not, go to... that's what this is for, okay? I know that even me, we don't all have common sense sometimes. We're distracted, not thinking, and I did a safety video already on this, so do not come to me if you burnt your finger or you burnt it off. That is not my fault. That is your fault. Because I know some of us skim through videos, we don't pay attention, but please pay attention to this, and I will try to flag it in the description. Do not hold it with your fingers. Tweezers, metal tweezers, because they don't melt. Do not use plastic tweezers, please. And don't hold the tweezers way up here thinking you got to be right here, because they're going to get hot. Hold them down here or use the reverse grip tweezers, and you don't want to hold anywhere. And I only really just do it on the tip with my precision tweezers because you're not going to notice that little portion missing. Now, I did it a little differently. If you're going to do the fireflies, I glued this little belly part down first, and that's part of why it's supposed to, this tip here is supposed to be glued on top above the head, so his head should go on first. I didn't want to do it that way because I wanted all of my glow-in-the-dark without any little missing pieces because it's glow-in-the-dark. It made it all the more special. So I glued that onto the base. That way I could hold his head. And I applied that body embossing powder with a paintbrush, which I think I've already moved and I don't want to keep getting up because I'm lazy. I do not want to move again. All right, let me see here. Yeah, I think we'll use this one. This one should be fine. So you can either dip it right into there or you can dip it into your refill bottle, which that's what I'm gonna do. That's one thing I like the bottles for, is I can dip my brush in there. If I want a thicker layer, that's usually what I do. And I hope I'm in screen because my camera's way above my head. That was way too much, but that's okay. A good coat on there is not going to hurt. You do not want a lot of excess. Now, when you use your embossing ink pads, it's not going to saturate it because it doesn't want to cause paper warping. It's going to give you a thin, nice coat because it is very thick. Now I'm going to move all this. Let me make sure not to put that in my headphones. We're going to make sure this is the right one. Always check it. You do not necessarily need the spoon. You could just pour it on like so. Don't worry about the little chunk. I just shake it right back in there. And then I give it a tap. Now, I put the lid back on because I don't want to spill it. And I move it to the side because it's going to make some noise. Now, I am going to edit this part of the video so you, well, no, maybe not. It won't take that long, and that way you guys can hear it. It's not horrible. That's high. And you want to go in circles. I'll explain in a second. The only reason I went on high was to make it a little faster for the video. All of your powder will melt. You won't have any more powder. You'll just see a shiny, sometimes dull, depending on which embossing powder you're using. Let go. And so it's dry. You can touch. It's warm. Don't touch it right away in case you missed a spot because it will burn your finger. Do not touch this after you use it. Now, there are times that you want to emboss like letters, like I have. Do not put them on anything that's going to crack or melt. I recommend everybody use a cutting mat, which I have several of them. And they're over there and I don't feel like getting them right now. Any cutting mat will work. I actually have the small ones. Now you're gonna make me get it, aren't you? Yeah. Hold on one moment. What is it? It should be right here. I've moved all my stuff around. Yes, okay. I have it. I have to get it. Now I can put this in the description. I have tons of these. That's why I knew where they were. This here is my best friend. This is a new one. I use it for my embossing folders and my die cuts, and also my my embossing powder. Now, all I would do is put just a little bit of my flake glitter glue on the back, wait for it to dry, and I showed a video on that yesterday. Push that down, use my brush, or turn this upside down. Or what you can do is put it on the back before you actually emboss, okay, with the ink pad. Once it's sticky, because it dries and it becomes sticky, I put my finger down on it. That way my finger picks it up. I can't use that eyeball because we've already used that eye with the powder. Let's get, yeah, one doesn't stick, one does. See the difference? Once I end up, the back, once it dries, it's sticky. And then I push it into my embossing powder. I would pour a whole bunch of my embossing powder, or my embossing pad, and then that is on the bottom. And I'm not going to dip the eye in there because I don't need it. Pretend that that pile's there. I push down until all of it is coated. Whatever embossing ink you use, that'll leave, it won't just stick to the eye. Let's pretend that we're doing this side, but it won't stick to my finger over here. So let's say that this is all black or all white, and this was the entire area, the entire letter. I would go ahead and dip it in my embossing ink and then dip it into my tray, into my embossing powder. Grab it by the edges. You don't rub the top. That was just because there was a little bit of powder on. And then I drop it down, pick a little area, and then I would push down with my tweezers so it didn't come off, and that's how you tell. And then use my heat gun. You do not hold it close to the surface. You want it 2 to 4 inches, or some people, when they emboss, I can't grab that. Some people, when they emboss, they will do it from the underside too, because you can burn your paper. You can ruin the embossing powder. I've actually seen the paper smoke when I was watching TV and not really paying attention to what I was doing. That's what made me more aware. I've seen some lady that set something on fire. I will look for the links for these as well, because I use these with my Sizzix Big Shot. I no longer use these, what are they called? These plastic thingies. These thingies. Oh, what's this? Oh, maybe I should give that away. I don't need that. When you find stuff in an envelope that shouldn't be in there. I don't use these anymore except for spacers. If I'm using an embossing folder, then I would put it in between. But I no longer have to replace these because I use these. And I know that they have magic mats that self-heal. So no matter how many times you run your dies through, it doesn't leave the imprint. But those weren't out when I bought these, and because I bought 5 of them, I've only used 2 so far. Oh, here's a little booger. See? These are the 3 things I use for my Sizzix Big Shot. I am buying the electric one where I don't have to rotate it. Hubby already said I could, but there's proof that I run this through. So for your die cuts, this is my magnetic platform. This is a must-have. And then it would be this, your paper, your die cut face down, the sharp side down, and then your plastic mat on top. This says bottom because I've used it once, and then that's when I came across these, and I have not gone back to using these since because I hated seeing that. And it wasn't just that. My concern was after so many times, is that not going to give me a level playing field to cut my dies out? I don't want, you know, to be one of those people crying on videos that my dies aren't cutting all the way through the paper. So that's basically what happened. I'm going to turn out the lights now. And, well, my computer's on, unfortunately, but anyhow, let's see. Let's charge him for a second. Yeah, I've been trying to get caught up for everybody, and I have a couple giveaways coming. I'm gonna post those to my page here shortly. There you go. See? And there's our firefly, if he would clear up. And that is with actually the computer on. I have a huge screen, so that's kind of cheating. There we go. Now we can see it.